It's Saturday morning. You wake up with absolutely nothing planned. No work, no meetings, no reason to rush. And somehow, that makes you uncomfortable because there's something you've wanted to do for years. You've thought about it hundreds of times. Maybe it's starting a business, moving to another city, learning something new. Maybe it's simply doing something that actually feels like yours. You could start today, but today doesn't feel like the right time. You should probably save a little more money first. Things will feel easier when you have a bigger cushion. Maybe after your next raise. Maybe after you pay off the car. Maybe when work gets less busy. So you wait. And that's the dangerous part. Waiting doesn't feel like making a decision. It feels temporary. You tell yourself you're not giving up. You're just waiting until life becomes a little more convenient. Then your 26th birthday arrives. Nothing dramatic happens. You have cake, your friends make jokes, you go back to work on Monday. You still have time. At 26, 10 years feels almost impossible to imagine. Then, you're 27. You get the raise you were waiting for. For about 3 days, you feel like everything is finally moving forward. Then the new salary becomes your normal salary. And the thing you wanted to start? You tell yourself you'll do it after the next promotion. At 28, life gets a little more expensive. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. You move into a nicer apartment. It's only a few $100s more each month. You replace the old car that was always breaking down. That feels reasonable too. And without realizing it, the raise you waited years for is gone. Not wasted. Just absorbed by the life you built around it. So starting over now feels a little harder than it did at 25. At 29, someone at work quits. No promotion waiting, no perfect backup plan. He just leaves. You think he's reckless. But part of you is jealous. That night, you open the old folder again. The files are still there. Some of them haven't been touched in 4 years. For a moment, you feel embarrassed. So you make a promise. 30 will be different. You'll finally take the risk. You'll stop waiting. Then you turn 30. And something strange happens. 30 doesn't feel nearly as different as you thought it would. You still wake up in the same apartment. You still drive the same route to the same office. And on Monday morning, someone offers you another promotion. More money, a better title, and responsibilities that make leaving even harder. You tell yourself it would be stupid to leave now. Just one more year, you think. Build some savings, get settled, then you'll do it properly. 1 year doesn't sound like much when you're 30, but then 31 becomes 32. Your salary goes up again. Your life gets more comfortable. And strangely, that makes changing it even harder. Because now you have something you didn't have at 25. Something to lose. At 33, your best friend calls you on a Tuesday night. He has news. He's moving across the country. A company offered him a job he couldn't stop thinking about. The pay isn't much better. He just wants to see what happens. Your first thought is practical. What about rent? What about savings? What if the job doesn't work out? Then he asks you something simple. What about that thing you always wanted to do? You laugh. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. But after you hang up, that sentence stays with you. Still thinking about it. You said the same thing at 25. 8 years ago. That night, you can't sleep. Not because your life is bad. That's what makes it so confusing. You have more money than you did at 25. A better apartment, a better job, more stability. You got almost everything you were waiting for, except the feeling that now is the right time. And for the first time, you wonder if it ever will. But morning comes, and you still have work. Emails arrive, meetings start. And by lunch, the feeling is already fading. That's another thing nobody tells you about waiting. Life is very good at distracting you from the fact that you're doing it. Then you're 34. One afternoon, your company announces layoffs. For 2 weeks, nobody knows who's staying. Suddenly, the safe job doesn't feel quite so safe. You start calculating how long your savings would last. Maybe 10 if you're careful. And then you realize something almost funny. This is the cushion you said you needed when you were 25. You didn't notice when not enough became enough. Because every time you reached the number that was supposed to make you feel ready, you moved the number. But the layoffs end. You keep your job. And the relief feels so good that you do exactly what you've always done. You wait. 3 months become 6. Summer becomes fall. Fall becomes winter. Then one Saturday morning, you wake up with absolutely nothing planned. No work, no meetings, no reason to rush. And for some reason, the morning feels familiar. You make coffee, sit down at the same table, and open the folder. The oldest file was created almost 10 years ago. And suddenly, 10 years doesn't feel impossible to imagine anymore, because you just lived them. A week later, you turn 35. Someone asks what you want to wish for. 10 years ago, the answer would have been easy. More money, a better job, more security. Now you have all three. And somehow, you're still waiting. That's when you finally understand the problem. You weren't waiting for more money. You weren't waiting for more time. You were waiting to stop feeling afraid. Afraid of failing. Afraid of losing what you built. Afraid you'll regret choosing wrong. So you kept trying to remove the risk before making the decision. But every time you removed one reason to be afraid, your mind found another. There was never going to be a morning when fear disappeared. No email was going to arrive saying, "Now you're ready." The right time wasn't something you were going to find. It was something you had to choose. So you don't quit your job that morning. You don't sell everything. You don't make some dramatic leap into the unknown. You just stop waiting. 30 minutes before work becomes an hour. One Saturday becomes every Saturday. For months, almost nothing changes from the outside. You still go to work. You still pay the same bills. But something feels different. For the first time in years, you're not waiting for your life to begin. You're already living it. Maybe the project works. Maybe it doesn't. That's not really the point anymore, because failure costs you something. But waiting costs you something too. It costs days that feel ordinary, then months, then years. And one day you look back and realize the safe choice had a price too. The right time isn't when you have no fear. It's when you finally decide that waiting has become more expensive than trying. 10 years can pass while you're waiting for your life to start. Or they can pass while you're actually living it. Either way, the clock doesn't care. So maybe the question isn't, is this the right time? Maybe it's, how many more years am I willing to wait?